Hi guys, welcome to the live session that we're hosting right here. Thank you everyone for joining. I'm sure people will keep on joining. As you keep on joining, let me know in the chat. I can see the chat right here. Let me know in the chat where you are from. Which city, state, country you belong to. I would love to know in the chat for sure. Okay, so I'm just gonna start in a second. Awesome. Okay. Awesome. So, welcome to today's live session, UX UI design class, a free class from Designwings UI UX School. I am Puneet Chawla. I am one of the founders of Designwings UI UX School. And today we are bringing to you a lovely session with one of our star mentors, might I say, Sonia, who has been teaching with us for more than 1.5 years now. I think a little more than a year now, and she's been working with multinational companies for years now, and she's a senior UX manager right now. Let me just quickly introduce you to the host. The hosts are, of course, me myself, as well as Sonia, who will be guiding you through a bunch of career related UX career related stuff, and lovely to introduce you to her real quick. Let me just bring her up. Hi Sonia, we are now live. Just say hi to the audience real quick.
Hi everyone. Hope you all are doing good.
Yeah, it's Sunday evening. People who are at home, kudos to you. So, real quick, I just quickly introduced you while I had kept you on mute in the Google Meet. But real quick, what we're going to do is we're just going to start with the wonderful session that we have today. A bunch of really cool slides, a bunch of really cool information that we have prepared for them, which I'm sure a lot of people will be interested on to watch. Awesome. So, guys, I'm just going to switch to the Figma. Of course, we do love Figma a lot here. Let me just also make sure that my video capture device is working, because it sometimes is crazy with. Awesome, guys. So we're going to move on with, of course, you guys know the host for today. We're going to move on to know what we are learning today. So today we're learning designing effective edge cases. So we're basically going to be talking about something that, not a lot of people talk about, because it's something that, often designers can ignore, but it can cause a lot of hindrances in the design process. Edge cases, I'll let you know what it means in a minute. Building an effective career roadmap. I'm sure this is what a lot of you guys are interested in. Being in the ed tech space in UX, as well as Sonia also having a lot of years of experience. I also have a bunch of years of experience. At least I've started as a self-taught designer, and a lot of you guys have, and we're basically gonna help you understand, be it a college graduate, be it a school student, be it a person who's 5 years down their UX career already, how you can progress and how you can really take your career to the next level as well. A lot of people don't explain this as to how you can really push your career to the next level, how you can jump up the ladder, the corporate ladder as well, to reach better positions in the companies. Add value as a designer. So we're going to talk about how you can add value, certain things that you guys might not look at or notice every day, but small things that can really affect your design career in the long run. I'm sure you've seen a lot of people prosper in such areas where they're networking, they're just really on top of the game, and you look up to a lot of those people. So how do you add value as a designer to yourself? Okay, so let's just begin with edge cases. I'm sure if there are any designers in the chat, you would know what edge cases already are, but let me just quickly go through it. So edge cases are rare or uncommon cases or situations that can break the flow of a user's journey through the product. So for example, you forgot your password as well as your email. That's a weird case. Why would you forget your email as well as your password? But how do you cater to those kind of users? Also, we design for edge cases so as to make, okay, so basically even if there is an issue or a problem with the user's journey, how can he get out of that problem? How can he resolve that problem or get back to the usual ideal user journey, or wherever he was, he can smoothly get back to that position. So we're just going to begin with a few good examples of edge cases, what they can look like. There can be very extreme cases as well, which I'll discuss in a minute. A super long file name could be possible. So designing for this edge case is important. So as you can see here, a little bit of a screenshot taken from an application, where a name for a file, generally you see 1 word or 2 word file names, sometimes 3 words with, semicolons in between, things like that. But here you can see an entire freaking sentence paragraph, and how, a designer was, he used ellipses here rather than, kind of taking the line to the next line, So basically there is no wrap here, and basically he's just using ellipses to hide the rest of the name. How do you, kind of implement this? How would you come to this conclusion? Well, you would, test a few ways and test out what works best technically as well as from the user's perspective. So you can always do that. Various password edge cases, or forgot password, forgot email. So any kind of, situation where user has forgotten some information, mostly uncommon for users. Rare cases could be that he forgot his email as well as his password. Tell me in the chat if it's happened with you, where you've forgotten your email as well as your password. So, any case like this could come up, and you need to be able to kind of tackle that. So one way that you can tackle is just by giving a message. The other way could be highlighting the forgot password, so that the user can then move on to the forgot password field. Or if he also forgot his email, how does that form look like to be able to even get your email back? So you need to be able to see all the components there as well. Contact support for any problems with. So this was a screenshot from Zomato's, an old screenshot from Zomato, where if basically you have a problem with your order, not with the application or the website, but a problem with the order, which could happen outside the application, you can always use the app or software to kind of fix that issue. So an edge case doesn't necessarily have to be on screen. It could be a overall edge case with a customer's experience, but which is tied to the software or the website or application. So in this case, maybe on Uber, there could be, like, Uber implements things like, emergency cases where, some harassment is going on or whatever. You can do an SOS there. So they've tackled that kind of edge case, where in a rare case a driver assaults or attacks you, which is a rare case, but it still exists. So they had to tackle those issues as well. So edge cases can occur in any form, so as to say it could be with your customer's experience or your user experience on screen as well. What do you say, Sonia? Have you had problems designing edge cases with your own products?
Yeah, so exactly, most of the times. So when we try to solve any problem, there are different paths. So one is happy path,
Yeah,
of
happy
course,
path.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we try, we are well aware of the happy path, that users will take this action, and it's kind of linear steps the user will take and will try to solve the problem. But we forget about the edge cases which happens. So we have to consider the technical constraints, and uh,
Yeah.
we need to discuss many edge cases with the multiple teams, cross-functional teams. Yeah. So like, for example, I have designed something and I feel that everything is working fine, will work good for my end customers. But all of a sudden, technical person comes and, hey, this is not working, right? Did you consider this use case? So it happens a lot in our day-to-day life.
Yeah. Guys, if you faced an edge case, I would say, yeah, faced an edge case where, you felt that problem never really exists, but it's happening to you at some point of time, do let us know some interesting edge cases, which we could ponder upon later. And some guys are asking, some of you are asking in the chat when the questions will be taken. So keep your questions safe with you. We will be answering your questions towards the end for sure, be it towards Designwings, be it towards the presentation which is currently going on. Okay, so a lot of valuable stuff from Sonia's end as well. One thing that I really like that you pointed out, I think I missed it here. I should have had one slide just dedicated to that. Was it's a multi-team effort to find all the possible edge cases, because some could be just technical things which we aren't aware of. From the developers end, he could put some light on, shine some light on what edge cases could occur. For example, I saw this one little article I was reading about, just researching for these things, where they showed an extra long load time. So for example, there is an issue either with the internet, or there's an issue with the website servers or whatever. And if there's an extra long load time, how can you tackle that extra long load time? What kind of message you need to kind of convey to the user? How the user, how there can be some, refresh the page button or something. So that I think developer can, kind of tell us better what kind of solutions can be implemented to kind of get them on track if the website is taking very long to load, etc. So I think that's an interesting way to kind of also look at it. So effectively designing for edge cases. So here are a few, tips and pointers we thought, you guys should know, and we're just quickly going to explain it to you. How do you design for edge cases? First of all, just getting started. As Sonia pointed out earlier, making a list and discussing with different teams is important. You have to make a list of edge cases. So this is from personal experience as well, where so I was working for a fintech company called PayU, and in finance and in fintech, these payment applications, etc., there are a lot of edge cases because a lot of errors can occur, payment issues can occur, etc. So one mistake I made was not making a list in the beginning itself of all the edge cases that can occur and just leaving it till the end. We already had a design system in place, so might as well just list down all the tasks needed. So this I, kind of ignored for towards the end, and I kind of regretted doing that. So just from personal experience, make a list as soon as possible of all the happy path, as well as Sonia pointed out, as well as for the, certain unique edge cases that could occur. See how edge cases link to different problem statements. So this is something, which could be interesting. So an edge case could just, be a problem in itself. For example, you made a payment on a website, the payment went through, you got a message from your bank, etc. And you even on the app it said successful payment. But however, in your orders, nothing is coming. Even when you close the app, you bring it up, nothing is really coming up. So that could be a problem statement in itself. That could be a path in itself where you're saying, okay, if the payment was made but the user did not receive the order statement or anything, how do we go about it? What kind of message can we kind of convey to him? What kind of help and support we can give, and what kind of components we need to kind of incorporate. So that could be a problem statement in itself. So edge case can be as small as a long loading time. It could be as big as payment failures or payment issues, etc. And it could be, as huge as, the entire app crashing because of some, internal issues, and how do you kind of tackle that as well. A lot of people come up with things like 404s and stuff like that. So that's kind of how you can tackle edge cases and kind of look at them from a problem statement point of view as well. Make sure you have actions added to edge cases. So again, edge cases aren't supposed to have, visual representation only. It needs to have a link back whenever you're designing for an edge case, the components or the page you're designing or whatever it is needs to link you back to either the path you came from, the original touch points you kind of came to that place from, or that position in the user journey from, or it should give you a solution for it. So oftentimes I see a lot of websites, what they do is they tell you whether your password is incorrect or not. A lot of websites say email or password is incorrect. So there are different ways of tackling that problem as well. Or in case of uh, do you have any other examples, Sonia? Would you think of this? Make sure you have actions added. Just
Sure.
it's a very basic line, but
Right, sure. So, from design standpoint, I was just thinking, whenever we are completing our designs, we create prototype
yeah,
with some design tool, right? So, some questions we can definitely ask from others, or maybe we can consider that. For example, if I'm designing something, I can say that what happens if my user tries to upload a larger file? What
yeah,
happens if file name is too long?
yeah.
Okay, so there is no harm, or in fact, it is a best practice to show the designs to cross-functional team, especially to the developers, asking them the right questions, take their help to point out different errors which might occur during the journeys, right? And must
Mm-hmm.
involve the QA as well, right, in
Yeah,
writing the test cases.
of course.
So it's again, working very closely with different teams to design
Mm-hmm.
something from user standpoint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true, true. Yeah, so I think that kind of covers these points as well. Um, Make sure you prepare edge cases separately for handoff. So oftentimes developers are aware that there will be edge cases, so they will separate, rather than them coming back to you or going back and forth with you for edge cases, or you going back and forth with them. Make sure you have everything prepared for handoff, be it edge cases as well. It sometimes designing edge cases, you might put it towards the end or ignore it for the design process and later on kind of come back to it. But oftentimes if you do have a little bit of time in hand, which um, you should be able to smoothly hand it off to developers, because they need to develop for those edge cases as well, because they will be taking that into perspective as well. Test with real users, as Sonia also pointed out. It's good to prepare stuff for QA as well, and you just test things out. So testing with real users is important, because sometimes you feel the solution that you've come up for an edge case is the right solution, because it's either a design pattern or everybody does it, so sometimes the user expects something else, or they are confused by what is happening on screen. Whatever it is, if you test it out with them before making a good solution for your edge case, then you'll have a better solution to at the end, and then you won't have any issues pushing it out to production. So I think testing with real users is always important. Even at early stages you can start doing it, especially if you're doing like a design sprint and it's a part of that design sprint. Go ahead and test it out as much as possible. um, okay, so now we've given you a little overview, I'd say, of edge cases, how to kind of design for it. The best way to kind of go around it is seeing what kind of edge, just imagining what kind of edge cases, just assuming what kind of edge cases could be there in your own projects as well, and kind of validating those edge cases by kind of reading about each edge case around that application. If you're doing a personal project, you can kind of figure things out. Maybe talk to a developer who's done something, or another designer who's done something like that before. He can enlighten you about the edge cases. If he's done it on a commercial level, even better. If he's doing it with a company, awesome. So now what we're going to move on to is a very interesting part of today's presentation, is creating a path for UX and UI career. Now, when we say career, we don't mean just how to get your first job, but also how to prepare for all those things, how to really add value to yourself, and just make sure you're the best candidate for every situation. So what I'm going to do is, in this, Sonia is going to help me out quite a bit here. I'm just going to switch Figma to these slides, I guess, back again. And Sonia, what we're going to do is we're going to begin from like the absolute, okay, no, this person knows nothing about UX and UI. He just heard about it, or he somebody showed it to him, and now he's just going to, try and enter this field and discover it. So we're just going to kind of take it from there, because I'm sure a lot of people might look at it from a very beginner's perspective.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me just quickly start off with. So guys, what I'll be doing is I'll be sharing this kind of roadmap on Designwings Instagram after this. So make sure you follow Instagram designwings.in. Just type that into Instagram later on, and you'll be able to find Designwings. We post a lot of cool stuff there as well, but we'll be adding this link to that Instagram so that everybody else can also access it. But at the same time, you guys will have a more on hands kind of approach with this. So I'm just going to start, as we stated here, knows nothing. Nothing about UX. Maybe just heard about the term and kind of has like a idea of what it could be, but in reality, he really knows nothing about it. So I'm just gonna, just like every other cliche designer, I am going to make this into an auto layout so that it looks clean. Okay. Okay, so he knows nothing about UX. Sonia, what should he do at this stage of knowing nothing about UX?
Yeah. So I would like to mention this, that if you have a passion, if you're a passionate designer and co-designer by heart,
Yeah.
this UX UI career is, it doesn't only give you job satisfaction, but it gives you flexibility as well. You can
Oh,
join
yes.
any organization as a UX designer or a UI designer,
Yeah.
interaction designer, user
Yeah.
researcher. A lot of options are open for you if you have decided to
Yeah.
become a UX expert in
Yeah.
near future. So if a person is new to this domain, then it's the best way to start your career is by understanding what UX is, studying UX. You can join some schools like we have Designwings, join
Yeah.
some boot camps, enroll yourself. Okay, so you will get some kind of good hands-on experience as well when you build your portfolios.
Yeah.
So learning as well as practical experience is really important
Yeah.
initially, and then you can join any organization as an intern, where you will get chance to work on real projects.
One step
you know
at a time, Sonia. One step at a time.
yeah. Okay, sure.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. So
Right.
one thing
Okay.
that I wanted to add to this, understanding the field better. What I did personally when I was starting as a self-taught designer as well. A lot of you guys might want to kind of start as a self-taught journey before you can even commit to a degree or a certificate or whatever. I think at that stage also, what you guys can do is just give yourself one weekend. This is what I did. Just give yourself one weekend, go through as many free courses, free videos, as much free content that you can consume. There's a lot of free courses on Udemy, Udacity, whatnot, you name it. There'll be a ton of them out there. But just the I think just see fundamentals um, of UX design or UI design, whatever the title is. But fundamentals of UX design, if you are able to understand the fundamentals in a weekend, just go through like an overview of the entire field, what is done, what is not, what are the expertise and specialities, what it consists of, the process. Just go through that, just an overview of it. that will also help you understand whether you can be passionate about something like that or not. You know, Sonia, I've just seen a lot of people get into it because there's money in it, or there's, it's something new and there's more demand, less people to kind of suffice it or whatever. But like, if you truly want to generate, as Sonia also stated earlier, is passionate about it. If you truly want to generate a passion, start by just understanding whether it's even meant for you or not. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already been through this step, but if you're just beginning, fundamentals of UX design, if you type anywhere on any website, you'll get a bunch of courses around it. So just, kind of take a weekend to understand if this is the right field to get into or not, you know.
Yeah. So understanding what you need in design, that's important.
Yeah.
And definitely you can attend some initially you can attend some meetups which are free of cost,
Oh, yeah.
You can build some networking.
Oh, yeah. This is a
Yeah.
nice, good first step, attend meetups or um, join, like you've joined here or joined communities, you know. I think joining community can also kind of help you because a lot of people just like you might be there as well. There are a bunch of communities on Discord, etc. Just search for UX communities on Discord or Reddit or wherever you can find, and you'll be able to see some results on Google for sure. One I would recommend is people who design. I think that's people who design. They have WhatsApp groups and stuff, so that's pretty cool. Just quick texts.
Yeah.
Awesome. So attend meetups or join communities could be a nice first step because then you know the kind of people that you might be working with, or they can also kind of give you a nice perspective on starting it.
Yeah. Good
Anything
source of
else?
networking. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So,
exactly.
I think
Right.
this kind of covers the very initial stage, I think, of, starting with your career roadmap, so as to say.
Right.
So, these were some, I think, steps you can follow. There can be a lot more ways of doing it. But I think we're not trying to overload you with information. These are just fun things you can start off with to understand whether it's a passion or not, to understand whether these are the kind of people you want to work with, and just to kind of give you a kind of kickstart into that field. I think
Yeah.
then next, I think, Sonia, you'd say a good place to be is to start a certificate course or some cohort based course. Um,
Right.
Start a
Most of the students I have seen, or most of the people, they really understand the difference between UX and UI, right?
yeah.
So it's always good to choose the career path. Maybe you can, if you have passion of UX and UI both, you
Hmm.
can join any organization as a hybrid resource. But
Yeah.
if you want to focus only on UX, there also you have many options open for you, right? So just think from that
Yeah.
perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, I think even before you join a cohort course, maybe try and understand the various niches that are available for you, and the what kind of tasks you need to or roles you need to play in companies. So that will give you a nice perspective of, okay, if I'm a UX researcher, I need to focus on these things more, or I need to learn about more of these things in this area. If you're a UI designer, you will focus a lot on UIs and visuals, and a little bit on testing. But if you're a UX researcher, some UX researchers I know nothing about. They don't even know about Figma. They're like so old school that they didn't even get onto Figma at an early stage. So I'm talking about 2-3 years ago. They're like psychology graduates. Uh, so
Mm.
you could literally be a psychology student and become a UX researcher when you still are a UX, in the UX field in general. So I think learning about the niches, then I feel that a good part would be to, then join any form of formal education, because now you will now get a nice base in that formal education, but at the same time you'll be able to practice your niche as well.
Correct.
Yeah. So I think starting a cohort or any kind of course certification, whatever degree, go for a degree. If you're anyways going for a bachelor's, go for a bachelor in design or UX. or product design, interaction design. There are a bunch of specialities you can kind of go into.
Yeah, one point I would like to mention,
Yeah.
the benefit of joining the boot camps or design schools, right? You will be, after attending these kind of courses, you will be able to connect the dots.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, what will happen, like if you are studying on your own, or if you believe in
Yeah.
self study, then you know that okay, Photoshop is there, and then you have Figma, we have information architecture, we have personas. You will not be able to connect the dots, right? And especially understanding the design process is really important, which I always mention to my students, that
Yeah.
and everyone is very passionate about the UCD process steps which we take in
Oh
design. Yeah,
yes.
so these schools really help you to connect the dots, that
Yeah.
how you will start the design process, what are the initial steps, okay, you
Hmm.
take when you do the user research. So that's the benefit of this.
Yeah. So, um, yeah, whatever kind of course, degree, whatever you guys want to take. But a very important thing in this position of your career is to connect the dots anyhow. Even if you're self-taught, whatever. If you can connect the dots yourself, great. If you can't, join something. I think that'll be a better thing. But connecting the dots is also important, not just from a technical point of view, as Sonia stated, like, the design process through and through and you understand it. But you also, are preparing yourself for your first job or gig as well. Because when you join an organization, they expect you to know the process well, be it a junior role or an intern role. If you know the process well, everything will be smoother. So make sure you know the process well as you know how the corporate environment can work. So always, before joining your first job or first opportunity, get in touch with somebody who's been in that position. Could be a senior UX designer who started from a junior position, or anybody who is a UX designer would be able to tell their experiences from a first job perspective. So anybody or can get in touch with, kind of take their help to kind of connect the dots on how things will work in the organization, or what are the kind of practical processes that they might be taking up. If they are taking up things like sprints, you should know about sprints and how to tackle sprints and how to be a part of sprints. So you need to kind of understand these things before getting into it, so that you're not confused when you're getting your first job or gig. So I think we've spoken about the learning part of things more or less. I think after this, the learning happens with experience. But Sonia, what would you say, once they have, say, when they're, preparing for a job interview, or when they're like getting into their first job or trying to find their first job, what do you think the steps should be from their end?
Yeah, so I always recommend my students and people to understand, as I mentioned, the process first, and should be able to speak about different jargons, different terminologies which we use in the industry, UX UI domain specifically. So get the clarity before appearing for any interview. So let's say what is one-on-one interview.
Yeah.
This is the another name of one-on-one interview is contextual inquiry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So some understanding the jargons is really important. So
Yeah.
the process, but you are not aware of the jargon.
Yeah.
So right, and you should be able to explain your design process accurately. Sometimes you have done research properly, but you are not able to communicate to your interviewer. That confidence, that communication should be there. So that's, I think, most important.
Yeah. So for guys, in UX, a lot of things can be subjective. The way you do things can be subjective. So when we generally say your design process, we know there are certain design processes, but even those design processes come from some set of people who built that process, or who said this is a good process. But if you don't want to experiment with the design process, which you should, because if you have a unique perspective, you can explain. But you should always kind of look at the design process, as Sonia also earlier said. It's quite flexible. Everything is very flexible. it's subjective. So if you have your inputs in the design process, if you think doing this is a waste of time and doing this is a good thing to do, make sure you make changes and kind of explain your process and how you like to do things better. If you can make something work better or get better results, people would love to hear about it. So that's what we say by your design process. um,
Yeah. And also, like, just don't focus on UX artifacts. Like, you have to create journey map, you have to create personas. No,
yeah,
empathize with your users, understand their
yeah,
needs. Just don't design just for the sake of designing. You should love, you should have that passion, love to solve others' problems.
yeah,
You know, so that's there. Um, I think that's, if you have all these things, you are good to start your career.
yeah, yeah, true. Like, if that is one of the reasons you got into UX, then you're on the right path for sure. So I think, in case of if they are preparing for their first interview or whatever, their first job, I think another thing that they could kind of look into, um, is, just, a lot of designers don't have this. I wish they would. Just good communication and presentation skills. When you're getting into your first job or whatever, this is something that a lot of designers have missing, is they can't present what they've created or what they're working on. And that kind of hinders, and they kind of get a shock. Oh, we need to create presentations also for this. So yeah, you'll have to create a bunch of presentations. Every designer has to, for different kind of team meetings or meetings with stakeholders or whatever it is. So just learn presentations. Making presentations, presenting stuff, taking feedback. Just presentation kind of covers everything. Even feedback is a part of presenting something. But taking feedback, how to take feedback well, or if there is an argument, how to kind of tackle that situation. So just knowing these little things can help you transition into your first job, because then okay, this, apart from my design skills, there's this additional stuff that is also needed. So
Right.
even
That's what
even
that's
in
what
your
we teach.
interview, even in your even in your interview, I think if you can present your, they might give you an activity or an exercise to do, or to come up with some solutions on the spot. If you can present it well, the solutions, then they'll know, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about.
Right. And when we create portfolios, right, when we add our projects,
Uh-huh.
when we do practice, so we get this kind of, experience, confidence that we are able to speak, in front
Yeah.
of many people. Yeah.
Yeah, so practice with your portfolios, I guess. Just pitching your portfolios and what you worked on, I think could be a nice thing. So I think this all we've covered for the first job. How would you suggest, Sonia? Like, you've obviously gone up the ranks with your organizations.
Yeah.
How would you suggest, designers, this, they might start, they might get to a certain level over the years, but how do they really progress once they've gotten their first job?
Right. Okay. So as you mentioned, if you are already into your first job and you have joined as a UX, junior UX designer, okay. So there are different levels. So we also called practitioner, then senior practitioner,
Yeah.
right? Then after that we become associate manager, UX manager, senior UX manager, right? So first of all, you have to decide in the beginning. Of course, you start with as an individual contributor in a
Mm.
technical role.
Yeah.
Then you have other opportunities. If you are passionate about management role, you
Mm-hmm.
love to manage multiple projects, from UI UX perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you love to manage people. So then
Lead.
other
Yeah.
career options, are also open for you. So, but career definitely starts as an individual contributor,
Okay.
designing wireframes, solving problems, and then you move towards, leading role. Yeah.
This is a very interesting thing you've told the audience today, is difference between individual contributor and someone who manages stuff. So I think people can kind of look at that from that. It's a kind of different perspective to look at for the designers, for surely, because just individual contributor. Not a lot of people use that term anymore, I feel. you know so yeah, so I guess you start off as someone who just tackles problems heads on with either a team or individually. And then, if you are, as Sonia stated, you should know the different positions that are available to you, and know whether the roles they come with, or the tasks and problems they kind of come with. You are the kind of person who would like to get into that. You're passionate about doing that. As she stated, if you're a manager or a lead, you should be able to kind of manage people now, along with the UX work as well. You might be doing less UX work now and managing people and tasks and deadlines more than anybody else. So you should be passionate about those things. It doesn't matter if you're in the organization for 5 years, 10 years. There are designers who remain UX designers or just get to senior UX designer, and that's their position for years to come. But that could be just because they weren't passionate about managing other people. They don't want to get into that role, or they're not looking to kind of pursue it separately. So understand different roles, essentially, and what they come with, basically. So I think understanding different roles. How do you approach now, Sonia? Like, if you're ready for a role, how do you approach that seniority? You know, if you want to be a UX manager, you're a senior UX designer somewhere. You want to become a design lead, or whatever they call it in that organization. Uh, associate
So
UX manager or UX manager.
so it's actually a trend. You have to perform one step before you
Mm-hmm.
get that position, right? So if you're working as a senior designer, senior UX designer, and you want to become design lead,
Mm-hmm.
right? You start taking initiative. Then you are a senior practitioner,
Mm-hmm.
right? So try to work closely with your teams, help your teams to understand the users better,
Mm-hmm.
participate in user research and testing sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So show that yes, you are passionate about helping others. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
work very closely with the junior designers in your team. If you are a senior designer, you must help your junior designers in your team, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first step. So yeah, then you can become design lead in your organization, and then slowly you can become creative director, UX
Mm-hmm.
manager.
Yeah. True. Yeah, so that's interesting things to kind of look at. Is taking initiative is the first step to even get into that role, for sure. And then, of course, you have to talk to people about
Yeah.
what kind of initiative you're taking, and it shouldn't go unheard or unseen, for sure. So just make sure that if you're taking initiative, people know you're taking initiative. Otherwise, who cares?
Mhm.
But that kind of shows, um, one way, that you can show it is definitely if it's a team project and you're casually leading it, like, as we just stated, taking initiative and just helping the teams out, etc. You can always state in that project, that, okay, this is my role and this is what we've done with this. If you're presenting something, just make sure you're the leader of that presentation, and just I think that would be a good way to kind of look at it. mm. Yeah, so start taking initiative, and then you can move up the ranks. So I think one or two things we'll kind of add to this, and then we'll go to the Q&As and stuff like that. Here, financially, a lot of designers talk about a lot of stuff. There's a lot. Like, there is, financial subjective. Not every UX manager or UX lead earns the same in every organization or in general. In our country, systems depend. A lot of countries, I think there's a system. You can't just jump from 10 lakh a year to 30 lakhs a year just like that, unless there's a company offering you that. Most HRs will kind of kill you for that. So what would you suggest, Sonia, is a good way to move up financially in one organization or multiple organizations, whatever the situation is?
That's
It,
very
it's a tricky
difficult
question.
question.
Yeah. Because it's very
I know,
subjective, I guess.
yeah, right. So we, of course, we all are putting these efforts for money. Yeah,
Yeah, of
no one.
course.
We don't love to do charity, right?
Yeah,
We don't love that.
yeah.
We love to earn money, right? So our basically what we want to learn and earn as well. So if you want to get, I would say, good package, so once you have that experience and knowledge, yeah, once you are comfortable with in this domain, you can easily switch job. You can
Mm.
also work with companies like Microsoft, Google, which are your dream
Yeah,
companies, right? Yeah. Right.
yeah.
But first step is definitely knowledge and experience,
Okay.
right? Um, and if you see that this is the right time, if you look at the trend now, because now fortunately corona is over, almost
Yeah,
over, and this is right time to join the or to get the promotion in your domain, right?
yeah.
If you're working as a junior designer, you start applying for senior designer role, maybe UX researcher. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
definitely you will get some good hike. You can also do some freelancing stuff if you are interested to, if you want extra income, that's also there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think people don't look. People should look at it from how much, just from a perspective of things like, as passive income also. It's not your income is just not, the primary source is cool, but having passive income is also really good. So if you want to take up, extra gigs and stuff on the side, most designers do that these days to kind of get earn a little more pocket money. But apart from that, from personal experience, again, like Sonia also brought that up, is um, switching companies is, I think, the fastest way to do it. It's definitely a little trickier and like takes a lot of paperwork, this, that, but I think is the easiest way to kind of go about it. You don't have to ask anyone for a raise. It's just inevitable. You'll get like a 10-15% raise. But don't use it as a hack, huh? Don't change companies every 3 months just for that. But yeah, I think switching companies, apart from that, just,
Sometimes we are in a comfort zone, right?
yeah, of
So we
course,
want to stay in a comfort zone. So
make one thing I want to kind of share at this stage when there people are thinking of earning more money, I think, is making the right friends. So I was friends with all the really good friends with some directors and people like that in most organizations. Just, not chaplusi licking their ass kind of friend, but just, relatable stuff we can talk about kind of friend. And they kind of notice you more and come to you more than, and you can just directly tell them, what, fuck it, I just want to raise, man. So, I think making the right friends can also just casually help you out a little bit in the organization. Just moving around with the right people, knowing the right people can get a lot of different work done, just apart from design, just looking at a corporate perspective, I guess.
right. And another very good point came in my mind.
Yeah.
So if you're already working in an organization, talk to your line manager. Yeah. Show them that yes, you definitely need a raise, or you want to you need promotion, you want to grow in your career. Every organization has the career development plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So create that development plan, work very closely with your line managers.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, true. Like a lot of them can kind of help you get under their wing and kind of grow with them. You know,
Hmm.
a lot of designers don't take that initiative. Like they're just sitting and doing their work diligently as they're told. You know,
Right.
but if you really want to like get up the ladder or get up the money ladder, whatever it is, just I think talking to people and just being there at the right time is the best thing to do. Yeah, so I think we've kind of covered a bunch of things. I've seen very few people really cover online is just the growth roadmap also a little bit. But yeah, so we'll move on to. I'll be sharing this on Designwings ka Instagram. So guys, do make sure designwings.in on Instagram. or my handle is Puneet Chawla official. Sonia, do you share cool stuff on Instagram as well or no?
Sorry.
Do you share design stuff on Instagram or no? Your Instagram is just your stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, so we've covered this. Let's kind of look at just few points that we just want to add to the already existing career path exercise we did right there, discussion. What adds value to a designer? Showcasing a process. We spoke about this, kind of summarizes everything we just told about. Showcasing a process could be in your portfolio, could be on social media, LinkedIn, etc. Just making your own sort of process where you where you think some things are a little more effective, or have a different perspective of things. Contribution to the community. Join a community, be a part, help others if you can. Share work, share cool stuff you might find. You'll make good friends. You never know, somebody refers you to a really good company in the future. Never know where you make good friends at. Clear documentation in everything. So documenting, presentation, this, that, all that additional soft skills are very important. So add soft skills. Find time to learn how to communicate better, or how to improve language, or how to improve documentation skills. Just documenting everything properly, keeping everything organized. Designers are super messy, can be super messy when it comes to just designing stuff in Figma, etc. So just know how to do good stuff, know how to build a design system, etc. Understanding business. As we had stated earlier also, a lot of designers don't understand this when they're beginning, is there's more to design. You're designing for a business. You're selling something through software or through whatever it is. You're selling something. So even on Instagram, there is ad space. So you have to design for ad spaces and how businesses can work on your platform. So attend events to build a network, as we just stated, building a network. Attend an event. There are events coming up now because pandemic has slowed down or just passed off a little bit. But online events as well can work a lot for you guys. Understanding niches, as I stated earlier. We both, I think, kind of put a lot of effort into telling you guys what niches are and how you can get up the ranks along that niche as well. So understand niches is a huge part of it. Take part in competitions and challenges. Especially if you're a beginner, there are a lot of challenges, competitions where you can design with other people. You can see what other people are designing, gives you a lot of motivation. It's good practice, just practicing stuff. If you're a UI designer, you can design UI. If you're a researcher, you can do some sort of research every week or something. Just mastering skills and just fine-tuning everything. Have proposals ready. If you're a freelancer, this is especially for you, is have a bunch of proposals, brochures, portfolio material ready to go. If somebody asks you for your work or anything, send them all of that good stuff. But have a lot of stuff ready to go, especially portfolio and, different companies you worked with or whatever, just have it listed out and everything. Neat little documentation. So, that was, it from ours, and Sonia will be the, next batch's mentor. Half of the batch is already done with, we just, I think, closed. So 20 students each batch, so that mentors can really communicate with everybody kind of equally. Anything more than that, we've seen just gets a little messy, so do check out designwings.in, just search for it and you'll get it. We have a bunch of cool stuff coming up, and Sonia will be, of course, your effective mentor who you can communicate with, and she'll be guiding you through it. We have some really cool hiring partners who kind of communicate with the students what they want, where they would like to go, proceed with, and we get you guys placed as well. So we have plans for that as well. And of course, we have all these little things that we've stated here, online classes. So be it if you're in Tamil Nadu, if you're in Kashmir, it doesn't matter. You can join us and not worry about the location or anything. And we get you placed all pan-India as well. Placements also come from all across India. Mostly are remote these days. A lot of companies are opening up to the remote workplace, but some might be on spot. So that was it from our side, guys. Make sure you drop a like before you leave, and we will quickly just take 2-3 questions. Sonia, you up for 2-3 questions? I guess the best ones.
Yep.
The best ones. I'm
Sure.
gonna. Okay. So you can try contact it. Okay, so Praneeth, people can. Okay, so if you want to contact us, the best way is to say help@designwings.in. Email us. Make sure the emails are relevant. Also, don't spam there. But email is best way. Instagram, we don't have anybody handling the Instagram 24/7, so we kind of get. We earlier we used to have, but now we don't. I think it's best way is to just email. What is the average and median salary package of students of job guarantee program? So at Designwings, we don't guarantee the salaries, because salaries can vary depending on your experiences, on your background, and everything. There are a lot of factors. We can't really state one factor and just get over it. Design is weird sometimes. But average salary, students generally get a score between 5 to 7 lakhs. Less or more depending again on your experiences and how well you've performed as well. So I would like to know, what about UX design future, saying something like metaverse or like a future, like, okay, a lot of different sentences. Okay, so I get what you're saying. A lot of potential in AR, VR, mixed reality, metaverse, so as to say Web3 in general. So Web3 will just be it'll be tech. It's still tech. So even when you're designing for Web3, there are certain things that you need to take into consideration. There are a lot of new technical things you'll have to take into consideration. But if you're a designer, you will already know how to solve those problems or take things into consideration, or edge cases, as we said. But that will be that's not something that you study separately. So for example, you're a student, you get into a food tech startup as a UX designer. You don't know anything about food tech, but you'll learn about it. So you get into an organization, understand the products, understand problems, understand the users, and then you keep moving from there. So of course, some things like AR, VR will require understanding of AR and VR. That'll be a more technical understanding of how VR environments work, or how 3D objects work in a VR environment, or how people interact with their hands, fingers, gestures, etc. So you have to understand all that, but the basic fundamentals of UX will always remain the same. For the freshers, how many case studies do you need to get? One case study, one good quality case study which covers everything can get you a job. Of course, if you have 2-3 really good case studies as a fresher, there's a higher chance. So balance between quality and quantity, I guess. Hi, I'm a front-end developer but wanted to become a UX UI designer. So I think we already covered the roadmap. We'll be sharing it on Designwings ka, I'm just going to share at designwings.in is our Instagram handle. So you can always search for it. So we'll be sharing this roadmap as a flowchart, etc. on the Instagram, so that you can kind of just check it out. But make sure you follow something like that, so that and remember, if you're a developer, you'll have to start as a beginner again. If you're switching career, you need to understand, just because you have corporate experience doesn't mean you have corporate experience in UX design. So a lot of things will be from scratch. So remember that. Okay, so a bunch of questions. So Sonia, if you want to go offline, I'll be answering most of these questions. I don't want to kind of stretch your time out here.
Sure.
But thank you, Sonia, for joining again, guys. Do say bye to her. Of course, the chat is delayed, so you'll get bye after 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Puneet. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you for joining.
Bye-bye.
Awesome, guys. So that was Sonia and I on a bunch of stuff. Wait, OBS में क्या दिखा रहा है? OBS में ये दिखा रहा है, which is fine. Cool. Okay, so I'm just going to answer all these amazing questions you guys have. So will UI UX field get oversaturated with professionals as the number of people with UX UI designer tag has increased? या टैग कोई भी लगा सकता है. टैग मैं लगा सकता हूँ, आपका दोस्त लगा सकता है, दिहाड़ी करने वाला लगा सकता है, आपके घर की मेड लगा सकती है, ठीक है, ड्राइवर लगा सकता है, डेवलपर भी लगा सकता है, कोई भी उठ के UX UI का टैग लगा सकता है लिंक्डइन, इंस्टाग्राम, कहीं पे भी, क्योंकि इलीगल नहीं है. बट लेट मी टेल यू वन थिंग, the quality of designers are very few. Praneeth is a student of Designwings, and he can tell you the quality difference that we've seen in students, the quality of work, the quality of performance is next level. You know, now when you start your first job, you'll be the top of the game. So it's yeah, Bharat, you're Indian, so I would expect you to know Hindi, but okay, maybe you're from South. So again, it's very important to understand tag doesn't matter, quality matters in any field. Why are web developers still in demand? Why are developers still in demand? There's no code. अरे वो तो चेंज हो जाना चाहिए ना, अब तक इतने सारे डेवलपर हैं. नहीं, every field will have some new opportunities every year, यार. Don't think about that. It's cool. Okay, AI replaces UX in future? No, never will. UX is a very in-depth analysis and understanding and testing. By the time a robot does that, we would have figured out 10 other things a robot cannot do. How to apply for jobs and internships? Boss, LinkedIn pe jao, go to LinkedIn, search for jobs. When you search for a job, reach out to people in that company. So if there is a designer, okay, in a company, and the company is hiring, if the company is hiring, go ahead, talk to the people in that company and say, would you be able to refer me? I'll share my portfolio, etc. And if this person says yes, would love to refer you, share your perspective, share your stuff, share your portfolios, resumes, everything there. You know, make sure you share it there. But directly approach people. That's much better way to do it. Very few companies. Internshala, if you're in India specifically, internshala.com, multiple internships. There are other websites like Internshala, so kind of find that as well. They have internships specifically focused towards design, tech, etc. Delhi NCR, Bangalore, every city, international also, work from home also. Everything they will have. Search for internships on the right platform. LinkedIn, maybe they might not be posting a lot of internship roles, but they might be approaching companies like these for internships. What else would you guys like to know? One or two questions I'll take, and then I'll also go offline. So will UI UX field get... Okay, we've spoken about that. We've spoken about this. Yeah, I think most of the things are mostly covered. Do kind of check out designwings.in. Just gonna quickly share the link here. We have a March batch coming up. If you want to start your career, if you want a bunch of other things as well, job guarantees, practical classes, virtual online, dedicated mentors, we're the place to be, buddy. We're also one of the cheapest in this category. So, you know, if you're worried about, I have to spend lakhs of rupees on my UX career before even getting a career, don't worry about that. For the course in 20 batch, high possibilities. Just go for it, man. Go for it. Fill out the forms. Fill out the evaluation test. If you pass, a lot of people are complaining. Some issues might be coming because we weren't able to get to a lot of students saying, okay, you haven't passed or you haven't gone through. You know, so we're preparing a system for that so that people don't just, feel we've ghosted them. We're working on that, fixing that. Full blown 4-year course or 6 months course, depends. Personal choice, man. If 4-year course, I'd say if you are up for if you're going for a bachelor's degree or if you're going for whatever, then maybe go for that. But don't go for it if you're you've done your bachelor's or master's and you're like, okay, now I have to spend 4 more years. Then if you're thinking of that, just go for a 6-month course. Go for a 4-month course. We have a 4-month course. 6 months, very few organizations are doing 6 months now. What is the fees for program? Go check out the website, buddy. Pricing, everything will be there. Awesome, है ना? But I think more or less the questions have been answered. If anything went unanswered, you can always follow me on my socials, Puneet Chawla Official on Instagram. I can always, kind of cover those in a Q&A, in a future Q&A. But thank you for joining, guys. You can Bangladesh, so you can join from any foreign country as long as you're joining the non-job guarantee bootcamp. So without a job guarantee. So we won't be providing you with the job assistance and everything. So if you're ready to kind of give up that, we make it cheaper. We give you a discount if you're not joining with the job guarantee. So the prices are different, but you can do it from any country. We aren't stopping anybody from doing it from a certain country as long as your time frames match. I think Bangladesh timing is more or less the same. If I'm not wrong, it's right here, पंजाबियां दी बल्ले बल्ले UI UX विच तुसी नंबर 1 पंजाबी हो. ये जो तूने थोड़ी सी जो मारी है ना पंजाबी की यहाँ पे, बात ठीक है. थैंक यू वेरी मच. धन्यवाद. ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. Now I see most of the top designers posting a single shot with half mobile screen, but on the other hand, mentors asked to have the entire design study. What do you suggest? See, if they're posting half of that stuff, that's mainly for presentation, just as a screenshot or something. It's not about, for a portfolio, you'll have to have all the screens, A portfolio, you'll have to have the studies and everything. You can't just have half the screen and everything, Unless you're a UI designer specifically, then you only have screens, but you have to explain those screens. How about remote jobs? Remote jobs are great. Remote jobs are definitely wonderful, especially if you're doing international work. It's even better because you get better pay oftentimes. I'm doing my bachelor's in DIT University, Dehradun. Oh, you're from Bangladesh. That's awesome. Yeah. So Kamrul, it's great because Bangladesh is right next door. Where is Bangladesh? Oh, it's right next door. I know that. Yep. It is right here on the, call it the border. I think you call it the border. East of India, on the Bay of Bengal. It's basically a part of India. Like if you look at it from the geographical sense, it's literally part of India. And it's Bengalis live there. So we have Bengalis in India too. So awesome. Seriously, I haven't found there are Punjabi mentors, but they aren't connected with the Punjabi side. My entire family is very like some are Kattar Punjabi, some are like fake Punjabis, just pretending. But yeah, so most of them are from like Amritsar or Chandigarh or Patiala or somewhere, So I kind of connected with that, even though I'm a Delhi guy, so my Punjabi is more Delhi influence, Hindi influence, Urdu influence, but ठीक है. चलो यार, टाइम हो गया. बातें करनी अच्छी खासी जो करते हैं एंड में. But thank you guys for joining. Designwings.in, Instagram on just www.designwings.in. And I'll see you guys with other sessions, other cool stuff, other YouTube content, etc. every week. Crazy how we can put things every week. So awesome, guys. How many students apply for a cohort? 200 to 300 people who give the test. Out of them, 20 people pass. No, they pass. A lot of people pass, but first come, first serve. Awesome. Awesome, guys. Thank you for joining. Won't take any of your time. Can read the chat for an eternity, but thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for staying so active, and I love you all. See you guys soon. Take care. Sat Sri Akal.